Hello everyone, and welcome back to Toku Toy Theory, where we take a look at toys from various tokusatsu series and try to figure out why they look and act the way they do. So, this time I'll be looking at the other three new generation riders that appeared in the TV series: Kamen Rider Duke, Kamen Rider Sigurd, and Kamen Rider Marika. So, let's begin! First up, we have Kamen Rider Duke in his base form. Now, while Kamen Rider Zangetsu Shin's base suit was simply modified from his original Armored Rider suit, the other three new generation riders have more unique suits, but there still are some parallels that can be drawn between them and the original Armored Riders. For Duke, starting off with the helmet, you can see that it has a knight-like visor similar to Kamen Rider Baron, but using vertical slats instead of horizontal ones. Similar to Zangetsu Shin, and this is something that's actually shared among all of the new generation riders, are tubes running down from the corners of the visor, and above the visor you can actually see a piece that resembles a crown, complete with ornamental jewels. Going down to the torso piece, one thing that they also share in common is that their torso all takes the form of a black undershirt, though each with a different shape. For Duke, his torso is basically the same torso as the one used for the European-style Armored Riders, but without the chainmail texture, as indicated by the simple design with the ring collar and the ridge running down the collarbone. Going down to the rest of the body, you can see that also like those European riders, or European-style riders, he has forearm guards and thigh armor, but of a new and unique shape, as well as unique elbow armor. It also has designs that are molded in to the armor pieces themselves. But besides that, he still shares the other armor pieces with the other Armored Riders of all types. Next we have the Lemon Energy Lockseed and the Lemon Energy Armor part. And there we get another thing that distinguishes the normal Lockseeds from the Energy Lockseeds, which is that for normal Lockseeds, while they try to use the Japanese names for the fruits or nuts where applicable, for Energy Lockseeds they always use the English names. So, like with Melon Energy, you can see that there is a contrast between the Energy Lockseed and the armor part. Whereas for the Lemon Energy Lockseed, it's just got simply the design of a lemon with some cables attached to it. For the Lemon Energy Armor part, you can see that while it definitely has the shape of the fruits based on, there are also elements that make it quite clear that this is folded up armor and is more artificial. Specifically in this case, how the bomb half of it has this silver coloring and the same patterns etched into it as the armor on Duke. Whereas the upper half has the lemon yellow and then this clear part on the very top, which is something that all of them also have. And one thing that gives the Energy Lockseeds a sense of uniformity is that they all have the same activation sound. What makes them different, however, is that this being a juicer, the color of the juice changes depending on which Energy Lockseed is being used. And here we have Kamen Rider Duke, Lemon Energy Arms. And once again we have that same kind of design scheme as with Melon Energy Arms, where the helmet is made to match up perfectly, with the cables connecting it all around, In this case, you can see that these pieces right here match up with the tips or the outer tips of the crown piece. He also has a couple of lemon-shaped nodes on the sides of his head. He also has an armor piece or chest plate with his symbol on one side, in this case within a piece that is shaped like a lemon, while the other side is clear and connects to the single shoulder pad. Once again, since this is intentional, since this is for storing the energy used for the Sonic Arrow. What's interesting here is that the transformation scheme here for the Lemon Energy Arms was obviously modified from that of Mango Arms, and that's for the sake of adding this cape piece. Now, while Kamen Rider Duke's name would suggest he's supposed to be based on a duke, taking all things into account, it's more likely he's based on a king. As his symbol is a crown, in medieval times kings were sometimes known to lead the charge into battle, and archery is known as the sport of kings, which would, give fitting justification for him to use the Sonic Arrow. So this is kind of a sign that sometimes names can be a bit deceiving. Next we have Kamen Rider Sigurd in his base form, which is certainly the one that stands out the most. Starting off with the helmet, once again we have the tubes, as well as a ridged mouthplate similar to Duke, along with another trait that they all seem to have in common, which are these pointy corners near the eyes or visor. He then has this ridged piece along the helmet, which has a simple but hat-like shape. Coming down to the body, you can see that for his torso, it kind of helps to cement the whole undershirt idea, since his has a V-neck collar. It also has these bands around his shoulder pads, with these little bumps to it, that are similar to the ones on the helmet. Then going down to the gauntlets and shin guards, you see the pieces or parts that make him most unique, which are that not only are the top and bottom pieces covered in those same bumps, but they're also covered in this coarse fur that's wrapped up in many leather bands. And this is a design unique to Sigurd, which kind of makes him similar to Bravo in that regard. But otherwise, once again, he has the same shared armor pieces. Next we have the Cherry Energy Lockseed and the Cherry Energy armor part. Once again, we have that same kind of contrast with the Lockseed, in this case looking like the fruit, but with mechanical parts added to it. In this case, it seems like it's embedded onto a metal wall, has this cable running all around it. And then with the armor part, it looks like a more artificial version of the fruit, since you can see, although the cherries are connected by a stem, you've also got these outer halves being clear and then the inner halves being solid, connected, or rather split up by these cables, then attach this metal part in the center. And once again, same activation sound, but different juice color. And here we have Kamen Rider Sigurd carrying energy arms. Now, as you can see, the general design elements for the armor of a new generation rider is here, but the one quirk is that the shoulder pad is now shifted from the right shoulder to the left shoulder. And that's because within the show, Kamen Sigurd is the only one of these 4 riders that is left-handed. So as such, this is actually switched around to the other side to indicate that. And the spot with his symbol is on the opposite side because of that. Getting to his helmet, see once again it has the cables connecting all the way around. Now you can see 4 horns that are actually pairs of cherries. And with all this in mind, it can be concluded that Kamen Sigurd is based on a Viking, since he does have that kind of signature horned Viking helmet look to him, as well as the fur, along with the name Sigurd itself, which is named after a hero from Norse mythology. And Vikings were known to use bows and arrows for siege warfare. So, once again, it works that he uses the sonic arrow. And last but not least, we have Kamen Marika in her base suit. Now obviously the first thing that makes her stand out is her being a female rider, which is pretty special since they rarely appear in the TV series themselves, usually confined to movies. And she's the only one within the TV series proper for Kamen. Looking at her helmet, it definitely has a very feminine look, with the eyes having a look like butterfly wings, or large eyes with perhaps a bit of makeup for the eyelashes. On top she has what looks like a veil or headdress of some kind, and then a softer design to her mouthpiece, as well as some slightly curved and less rigid looking tubes. Going down to her torso, he once again has that undershirt-like design, in this case her having a turtleneck collar. He then has some little frills on her shoulder pads, or the shoulders of the suit, as well as an embroidery-like pattern on her gauntlets, thighs, and on this cloth skirt piece on the front and back, which is similar to the robe as part of Ryugen's base suit. But she, of course, has the same shared elements as the other armored riders. And then we have the Peach Energy Lockseed and Peach Energy armor part. Now, out of all of them, these are definitely the ones that have the most contrast, mainly in terms of color, with the Peach Energy Lockseed having a very distinct peach color. That is how the Japanese often depict the peach, and is very contradictional, especially since the traditional word for pink, momo iro, means peach color. And then as for the armor part itself, the main color is a more realistic peach color, with a clear pale yellow that resembles the inside of the peach. And again has a more artificial look to it, whereas Lockseed looks like the fruit with cables connected. And finally, again, it has the same activation sound. Naturally, the juice color will be different. And finally, here we have Kamen Marika Peach Energy Arms. As can be seen, her armor is very smooth, slim, and feminine in design. You can see that for the back of the helmet, it has a general peach-like shape, including leaves at the bottom, and even peach-shaped indents on the sides. You can see that the tubes do, of course, connect all the way around. And this ridge here actually connects with the headdress-like piece on her forehead. And once again, for the armor, we have that same general design scheme, with one side being shaped like the fruit's based on, and having her symbol within it. The other side being clear, and connected to the shoulder pad. Now, as far as what she's based on, the two biggest clues for me were the transformation music for her, which was very Middle Eastern in theme, as well as her name Marika, which is most likely a corruption of the word Malika, which is Arabic for queen. And doing some research, one thing I found that she's most likely based on would be a Persian warrior queen. And those were queens who were known to both rule over the land they were in charge of, as well as lead their armies in battle. And these warrior queens were often depicted as wielding bows and arrows. So, once again, it is fitting that she uses the sonic arrow. And there we go. So, overall, there's quite a bit to be said about the new generation riders. One thing you guys probably noticed is that I said a lot of the same stuff throughout the review. And that wasn't without reason. One of the big themes among these four riders is a sense of uniformity, since they all work under the same corporation, as opposed to the other armored riders who are each on different factions warring against each other. There's also a general sense of technology and kind of artificiality to them. And I think that is meant to highlight that they're using kind of better technology and better gear than the other riders. And one of the most interesting parts about it is that while some might see them all using the sonic arrow as a bit of a cop-out, they actually justify it by making each one be based on a fighter or warrior who is known to actually wield bow and arrow in combat. So they actually made that single weapon fit all four of these different riders. And they also can be said to be kind of counterparts to the other riders, with Zangetsu Shin being the counterpart to Gaim, Duke being counterpart to Baron, Sigurd being a counterpart to Bravo, and Marika being a counterpart to Ryugen, based on their similar cultural references. And so that is definitely something interesting, as it really gives a sense that these are meant to be kind of the next level versions of the armored riders. So overall, they really are quite intriguing and quite unique, and it does surprise me how much thought was put into them and into their designs. So, next time I'll be reviewing the Atlantic Brothers set. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and or subscribe, and you can check me out on Facebook at facebook.com/KRX50. And for now, this is KRX50, writing off.